So I didn't know if I was going to do this or not. I don't know if it was a formal thing. Brian kind of mentioned to me back there, but and it just happened a few minutes ago. I want to welcome Paula Hedgelong to the board of DE. We love you. And we know with you on board, DE is going to explode, grow, expand, and be so much better. So, thank you. All right. So it's funny, I'm going to start off with we talked about made-up mindset on the flight over here. I know a lot of people had trouble with delays and this and that and weather and Microsoft glitch, stuff like that. But it's funny, when we booked our flight, I couldn't get the right times to match whatever, and then we finally just booked the flight. It was late on Thursday. I wanted to be here Thursday night, but it just, we just booked the flight for, it was going to get us here like at 11 or something. And then the day of, I was like, you know what, there's a flight at 4:45. Let's go early and get on standby. And Araceli was like, I was like, let's just go at 7. Why we got to? I'm like, no, because we're getting on that flight. I know, I see it. We're gonna get on that early flight. And we went there, and then there was a flight on our gate before that was supposed to go to Jamaica at 11 in the morning, and ended up leaving at 4:30 in the afternoon. So she was like, oh, this is crazy. There's no way it's gonna happen. Look at all this craziness. But when you see it in your mind's eye, and you have you see it, it's going to happen. We got on that flight. It happened. We were like 5th on standby, and she's like, I don't know, there's people in front of us. I'm like, don't worry, and it's a full flight. So keep that in mind. When you have a made-up mind and a singleness of purpose, and you see it, and you visualize it, like a lot of people talked about today, it happens and it manifests. So that was our experience coming here today. This whole weekend so far, everybody... Sometimes in some DE meetings, we talk about DE and the dynamic essential, but we don't talk about what it is. And I think this weekend, just about everybody has explained, broken down what the dynamic essential is. And put it up there for you. So dynamic essential is the new spirit born into the consciousness after a man becomes aware, humble, and obedient to the will of God within himself. And it's funny because you break down, aware, humble, obedient. And, being aware is that there is a divine spark within you, that friend within, right? Being humble, it's not about you. And being obedient is listening to that friend within and acting. And when I listed on a paper those 3 words, and, you look at the initials and it says, aho. And, Pete says it all the time. It comes from a Native American word that means thank you or amen. And I just wrote it down like 20 minutes before I got down here. And I was like, oh, it says aho, amen, right? Cool. But I wanted to do something, and this DE, sometimes I'm hovering in the back. I love being back there with the AV guys because that's, back in a few years ago, I was the one doing the AV and the PowerPoints for everybody, and because I just wanted the DE experience to be a good one for everybody, and I didn't care doing all that work back there and doing the music and stuff like that. But then, Randall came on board, and I get to just watch and kind of enjoy myself or just be present at DE. But this DE, I just committed myself to sitting down. I got my ass on the seat instead of hovering around. Sometimes you get distracted, you get pulled away, and you start talking in the hallway, and that's great, but sometimes you miss what's going on in here. And I wrote down just one word or a phrase from each speaker, and I just want to share that with you. Friday morning, Armin said adaptation. Peter Amler said mindset, connection, being guided by spirit. Dana Bechter. So if you had the glitch and you missed it, I'm giving it to you right now. Dana Bechter, tell a story, visualize. He was talking about doing screenings at CVS, and I remember he had so many screenings to do, he had to share the wealth. So he goes, here, this is your area, you go do CVS screenings. And it was funny because at that time, we started doing Band of Brothers at my office, and just doing Band of Brothers. And I had one person show up. It's funny that one week we did Band of Brothers, we had one person show up, and it was great. I was like, and then we had those screenings, and with those screenings and that Band of Brothers, that week we had like 28, 30 new patients. And it's just, being just immersed in what we do. Nolan said, get yourself right. Don't do it for other people, do it for yourself. Don't try to impress anybody else and anything like that. Drew, reap what you sow. You plant chiropractic, you reap chiropractic. Ed Cordero, odd jobs teach you lessons. And and he talked about value too. And that sparked something inside me where I had an odd job one time. I would sell door to door. I was in college, and people that know me, I don't really speak a lot. And being up here is like, there's no way I'm gonna, public speaking. To graduate from undergrad from my biology degree, we had to do an oral presentation. I almost didn't get my bachelor's degree because I didn't want to do it, but I got it done. And but it was called Wholesale Warehousing Industries, where I would go door to door, and my product was the Chronicles of the 20th Century. It was actually a pretty cool book. It had every event listed and describing it. And I went to, and they, in Miami, they were like, "Oh, Martinez." They gave me I speak Spanish, but it wasn't. It's if you guys think it's great, but my mom says my Spanish is horrible. So you're gonna go to Hialeah, Walter's neck of the woods, right? Nobody speaks English there. And I'm like, all right. So whatever, I did it. I fell in love with those books, and but every morning we would have a huddle, and you had to go in and you had to talk in front of these people, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, but those odd jobs trained me to be able to talk to people about chiropractic, and confidence and certainty. So thank you for keeping on, Ed, and because what you're doing now is going to impact a lot more people. Michael Halloran said, persistence is omnipotent, hard work. Paula said, she asked, what is your mission and purpose, and radiate with positivity. Bobby Burrell said, there's something more important than me. What is inside is limitless. Tony Ann said, is it the spiritual? It's the spiritual that makes us different. It takes work. Brian Moriarty said, tell the truth with boldness. Andy Harding said, discover and uncover your husks. Dan too, just keep coming. Sounds like Dory, just keep swimming. Dean Sotilli, that feeling, that anticipation before the lights go off. That feeling before you walk with a new patient. And I remember Dick Santo always saying that fire in your belly. It's nervousness, but it's that going into doing your orientation, you have that fire in your belly. It's that feeling. Walter said, transform yourself. Marilyn said, keep the faith, walk by faith, not by sight, and it's up to you. Chris Walker says, selling you on yourself. The DE principle applies to everyone. Austin Davis said, DE is a movement. You make the choice. Tim Zook said, champions are made when no one is looking. It's a process. Matt McCoy says, defend your value vigorously. Get involved. Life is tough. It's tougher when you're stupid. That was fun. Johnny Balsamo, we are in the game of life. Be more attractive to God. Liz Rassel said, I don't even know what I wrote. Yeah. Flow. Get in there, make connection, and get out. You were called to be a chiropractor. Serge said the DE message is simple. Fall in love with chiropractic. Tim Warner said, this is DE, this is my home. We work with humanity. And Away said, face adversity and serve your way out of it. So there's your DE recap for the weekend. And basically, it's getting the dynamic essential. Once you get the dynamic essential, all else follows. We say in chiropractic, get the big idea. BJ said, get the big idea, and all else follows. If you understand that, then you're truly free. It's about freedom. It's free. And my message for you guys, and this is something that the phrase just popped into my head the last few days, it's remember why you started. Sometimes we get lost or distracted. Early on, I bought into the DE way, the Dynamic Essentials way of doing things. I've been getting adjusted since I was 13 years old. I went to Walter's orientation when I was 18. I went to I went to my first DE before I even got into chiropractic school. That was a big shift for me. When I was in chiropractic school, I went on a mission trip with Dr. Kale when I was learning how to adjust upper cervical, knee, chest. And I'll never forget this morning. It always gives me chills because I know what chiropractic did for me, and I wanted to do that, be able to be that vehicle for other people. And I was still in school, and we went on this mission trip, and we were checking, adjusting, doing this whole flow, this whole procedure at work. We saw thousands and thousands of people. But I was young, and you're hesitant, you have fear. They handed me a baby, and I was like, and then somebody else. I wasn't ready, so I spent whole day just kind of doing my thing, but watching, observing Dr. Kale how he was handling an infant, and then they handed me this baby, and finally I was like, I'm gonna adjust this baby, and the baby was blue. So one of the chambers of the heart weren't working. Blah, blah, blah. We had interpreters that didn't speak English. And I put the baby on the table, adjusted it, loudest audible you could hear. The mom started freaking out. I told the interpreters, tell her what happened, tell her what we're doing, it's okay. And all of a sudden, like before my eyes, that baby turned from blue to pink. And I'm getting chills now. So, those things. And then I was like, this stuff works. I have no doubt whatsoever. No fear. I can, adjust anybody. I can take care of everybody that walks into my office. So, when you feel lost, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like doing something else because just life bombards you with stuff and you get distracted, remember why you started. Remembering why you started reconnects you with your purpose. It brings you back, just like the Dynamic Essential. This connects you to your purpose. I've had some priceless moments as a chiropractor. I had the privilege and an honor to adjust Dr. Sigafus. And when one of your mentors, and I was at the Breakers in Palm Beach, and I have a picture of me adjusting Dr. Sigafus, and I don't have it here. And honestly, whenever one of you guys ask me to adjust you, I consider it an honor and a privilege. But when these guys, you get nervous, you get a little hesitant, you get nervous. You're like, and a few weeks ago, we were at the FCS conference, and Jay Holder was there. You guys know Jay Holder? So it's funny. He asked me to adjust him, and I was like, okay. So I had my knee chest table there. I'm like, well, he developed the technique. So I was like, you get nervous. And I checked him, I adjusted him, and he said, nobody has ever opened that up like that. He was like, what? The first thing he said, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know, I adjusted you. And he goes, there is nothing like a toggle adjustment. And this guy who developed his own technique, a toggle adjustment, especially when it's done by somebody who knows what he's doing. And that to me was like, wow, what a crazy compliment. And it's funny because he was, at the end of the conference, he was kind of like, he's getting older, he walks a little slow, he can't even move. at the end of the conference, we're breaking down all the banners, we're getting ready to pack up, and he was over there like bringing stuff down. I'm like, "What are you doing? I got it. You don't have to do that." And he was like, "I feel fantastic. I have so much energy." I'm like, "What?" So he was helping us break down the conference after that. But we were having conversation. I was having conversations with him, and he spoke and he taught, and we were talking about stuff like subluxation, the profession, and I asked him, there's so many different variations of. Everybody has a different definition of subluxation. I go by Stevenson's, but every organization has different. He goes, it's simple. Subluxation is a separation from wholeness. I thought he was going to say something like super scientific over my head because he's a research guy, and I'm like that. He goes, it's that simple, and it says the adjustment is communication through touch. And when he said that, I just pictured the safety pin cycle, the communication, and touch, the adjustment. And he broke it down so simple. I was like, okay, sounds good to me. I'll take it. And he said the purpose of the adjustment is to create a state of well-being and increase human potential. Those were his simple definitions. And, sometimes I'll read some of these definitions, like, I don't even know what they're saying, Back to having a made-up mind. And she told me to talk about her, so I'm going to talk about her. So, my wife, Araceli. I knew when we really met, that we were going to get married. And I don't know if we ever even talked about this or whatever, but I knew in my mind that we were going to be together and we were going to get married. The first day I saw her, I was working in my cousin's office as an associate, and she was coming in there as a patient. We had known each other from before, mutual friends, but that day, I don't know what happened. I looked at her, and I was like, she will be mine, right? She will be mine. I proclaimed it, and what's funny is there was a lot of opposition. People were telling us it's never going to work. You guys are not compatible. You're not even the same. You don't like the same things. And I said, it doesn't matter. 25 years later, we proved everybody wrong. But it was that mindset, that made-up mind that we have. And I think, and again, we talk about it, but we haven't really talked about it. But I think she had the same thing in her mind as well. I hope. Well, she said yes, so who cares? So have a made-up mind. Have a singleness of purpose. Your mindset. If you want to see the masses in your community. Basically, I remember Joe Accurso asked me, "Do you have a system?" This was early on. I just graduated from school. And do you have a system? I was like, well, I'm just kind of doing whatever you guys are doing. I'm copying you guys. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. But, if you have a system that flows, and then you trust it and you work it, you should have no problem. But it has to flow, and you have to create more capacity for yourself so you can serve more people. And I said it before, Ed, you working in a different capacity. You're going to impact more people by what you're doing now because you're going to help us and the profession grow and be able to touch more people. So it really is that simple. There's a movie that I saw about Vinny Pazienza. You guys remember him? Boxer from the 90s. The Tasmanian Devil. Or there was a movie called Bleed for This about his life. And basically in the 90s, in 91, I think, he was in he's a 5-time world champion boxer. He was in a car accident. He fractured 2 vertebrae. I think he dislocated one in his neck. And, they told him he was definitely never going to box. He didn't know if he was going to walk again. He had this halo screwed into his body and his skull. And in the movie, there's a scene where in the hospital, the surgeon says, we're hoping that you'll be able to walk again. Telling him all the options and the outcomes. And he was like, but doc, when will I be ready? He was like, well, I don't know when you're going to be able to walk again. No. When am I going to be able to fight again? Like, he was already seeing himself in the ring again. And everybody told him he couldn't do it. There was no chance that he was going to be able to box again. He started training with the halo on, and he came back, started boxing, and he won 5 world championships. So this is a scene, and then somebody's interviewing him, and they're asking him, I don't know, they asked him a question, and he said, it's not that simple. And then she's like, what's not that simple? He is like, that's it. People telling me, that's the lie that people tell you, is that it's not that simple. And he says, it really is. So check it out. Make it louder.
People are calling this one of the most unlikely comebacks in sports history. What do you attribute it to?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of help.
But you've also had a lot of adversity. You've had issues with management, conflicts of interest.
Yeah, well, the boxing world looks shiny from the outside. It's filled with promises that most of them turn out to be lies. You can't rely on anyone.
So what would you say the biggest deception was? What was the biggest lie you were told?
It's not that simple.
Why not?
No, that's the biggest lie I was ever told. It's not that simple. And it's a lie they tell you over and over again.
What's not simple?
Any of it. All of it. It's how they get you to give up. They say it's not that simple, Vinny.
So what's the truth?
That it is. That if you just do the thing that they tell you you can't, then it's done. And you realize it is that simple. And that it always was.
If you get a chance to see that movie, the whole movie is really good, really good. But it is that simple. If, whatever it is that you want to do, it is that simple. Put the time into it, work it, have faith. It's all going to work out. You can see as many people as you can. You can help as many people as you can. You have the principle. You have the dynamic essential. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. It is that simple. You can't complicate it. You got to share the DE way of life with your people. Because, it's about, we have chiropractic offices. We're about chiropractic. We're about setting them free from interference and subluxation. But also, it's a mindset to empower them. For them not to be victims. Take them from victimhood to self-empowerment. When you have, and I have a cool story with my barber. He's a patient of mine as well. And he was working in a barbershop, renting a chair, whatever. And throughout the time that he's been coming to the office, we have conversations. So he knows why he's coming in, and now we just have other conversations on another level about the dynamic essential and living life, and not waiting. We had this conversation. Don't wait until you have this so you can start doing that. Don't wait till you have this so you can start living, right? Just do it. Just live. And it's funny. The other day I called him. I texted him. I said, "Listen, do you have time for me today?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then he sends me a text saying, with an address. I'm like, "What is that? You moved?" He was like, "No, I got my own place." So now he has his own place, And he's very humble, very, the place is in the worst part of town in Miami. And I'm like, where is this place? And he bought it from another guy who just, the business failed, whatever, and he has it, and he's like, I'm going to do this. He outlined his whole plan to make it happen, and he goes, nothing's going to stop me. But we talked about that. He was like, I'm living my life. I might have to do some things and modify some things to make it happen for my, for my family. And he sold his car. He goes, I don't need a car. So, but he's making it happen. He has the plan, and he's living life. So I want to, it's so important to not only educate our people about chiropractic and how powerful it is and how powerful they are, and the magic is actually within them. All we're doing is releasing it, right? But also, taking it a step further, because, that's the only way to change the world, right? So I'm going to leave you with this to close. It's a poem called Living Life by Bonnie Moore. And I really, it kind of resonated in me, kind of like what Tony Ann read about Bob Sotilli's words that he will always read on his after his talk on Friday night. So let me leave you with this. Life is not a race, but indeed a journey. Be honest, work hard, be choosy, say thank you, I love you, and great job to someone each day. Go to church, take time for prayer. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Let your handshake mean more than a pen and paper. Love your life and what you've been given. It is not accidental. Search for your purpose and do it as best you can. Dreaming does matter. Dreaming does matter. It allows you to become what you aspire to be. Laugh often. Appreciate the little things in life and enjoy them. Some of the best things really are free. Do not worry. Less wrinkles are more becoming. Forgive. It frees the soul. Take time for yourself. Plan for longevity. Recognize the special people you've been blessed to know. That's you guys. Live for today. Enjoy the moment. Love and appreciate you guys. Thank you.